the purchase amount?
What are you asking? What is the 25,000?
It's a Keeneland September 97 buy from what the form guide says, daily racing form, Storm and Silence. That dollar figure next to it, is that the claiming amount or is that the purchase price?
Well, that might have been the purchase price. I'm not exactly sure what stat you're looking at. My past performance that I'm looking at doesn't have that. The claiming price in this race is $25,000. So any of these horses can be had for a mere $25,000 if you've got it in account.
Be a cheap way to buy a Gulch horse with Barranca, runner number 4, but yet to break its maiden status. And today its current price at 5 to 1 now, so there's been support for it.
A little bit of support. The horse is dropping from 32,000 claiming and that maiden allowance level, carrying 123 pounds today, which might slow him down a little bit, 55 kilos. So we'll see what happens as they load into the gate. You're seeing the number 6 for Brent Sumja, Al Rafdain going in the gate now, one of the speed horses. Number 1, Storm and Silence, one of the ones I like. He's backing up a little and very washed out and warm. It's a little warm today, but I don't like to see him that sweaty. Having a little trouble loading him, so why don't we take it up to Michael Rona in the announcer's booth.
About 3 or 4 out of line, and one of them is putting on a performance, a piece of the puzzle, dancing about behind the gate. And the jockey of Thwart, Consolino Almeida, is momentarily out of the saddle. That colt is already in line. Almeida now remounting Thwart. And in the meantime, Vergara has abandoned ship from a piece of the puzzle, and they move him in riderless. 15th try for a piece of the puzzle. You'd think he'd know better. He had to move in minus the jockey. Trois Joey coming up with Pronto Dinero, and By a Smile will complete the line. By a Smile to come up to gate 11. Which is no treat with this fairly short run to the first turn from the mile into 16th starting point. They'll be running away from us in the opening stanza. By a Smile is half in, now being coached forward all the way, and we're set. Racing. Al Rafdain away okay, a piece of the puzzle showing speed with By a Smile. Along the inside, Storm and Silence and Kentucky Bluebird, one off the fence, are showing speed. Captain Al midfield and wide, and Pronto Dinero was shunted about 6 deep as they sweep out of the stretch, where Storm and Silence goes to the lead by a length from Kentucky Bluebird. 3/4 to a piece of the puzzle, and again to By a Smile, covering extra ground around the first turn. He's 4 wide. A length and a half to Sam Pash on the inside, followed by Barranca. Captain Al out deep in the black and green. 2 further back comes Thwart in company with Trois Joey. Al Rafdain's racing 4 wide, and Pronto Dinero 3 deep in that rearward group. Along the back stretch with 5/8 to go, they're covered by 8 lengths, and Storm and Silence is the pacemaker. A length on the favourite Kentucky Bluebird. A length further back, a piece of the puzzle. By a Smile still racing 4 wide with half a mile to go. He's being joined between horses by Barranca. Sam Pash midfield on the rail. A length and a half to Captain Al. Al Rafdain can't get on the track, followed by Thwart, Trois Joey, and 2 lengths to Pronto Dinero, giving away a 12-length start. 5/16 from the judges' box, and Storm and Silence continues to make play with Kentucky Bluebird pressuring more now. He looms up within a head. 3/4 of a length. Barranca hunting through along the inside, so Kentucky Bluebird is 3 wide as 3 of them line up turning for home. Barranca and Kentucky Bluebird now get the better of Storm and Silence. 2 1/2 to a piece of the puzzle, followed by By a Smile, Sam Pash and Captain Al. By the 8th pole, Kentucky Bluebird and Barranca stride for stride. They're having a fearsome struggle. They're 6 clear of the rest. Storm and Silence 3rd, then a piece of the puzzle. It's Barranca and Kentucky Bluebird. Kentucky Bluebird has just edged Barranca. 7 lengths to Storm and Silence 3rd, and a piece Piece of the Puzzle fourth, followed by Thwart and then by a Smile. Well back, Captain Al in company with Sam Pash, Pronto, Dinero and Trois Joey is last of all.
Well, the two power horses, Kentucky Bluebird and Barranca, draw off in a head-and-head duel out by 7. It's just the bobbing of the noses. You heard Michael Rona call Kentucky Bluebird the number 3 and Lafitte Penkai as the winners there. The number 1, Storm and Silence, got out on that lead like he had in the past at Prairie Meadows. Cut out a 1:12 flat 6 furlongs and kicked the bucket. Maybe watch him next time, but Kentucky Bluebird, Barranca, the two solid ones in this event.
Thought Barranca maybe as they swung for home in the closing stretch, Joanne might have been the horse to catch the Gulch horse, but Tony's good tip here, the Silver Hawk horse, Kentucky Bluebird. You were thinking of Bird Baccarat, the breeder. Dug deep, narrow win.
Yeah, I think a bit of mum came out in those last 50 metres or so, eh? Heartlight number 1, she was a top filly.
And Storm and Silence, the horse which did sweat up quite a bit, taking 3rd position on Race 8 Hollywood Park, which is our 7th and final race for coverage from LA. 3, 4 and 1, narrow decision the last, but Kentucky Bluebird successful in the final race on the card. Nice style of horse by Silver Hawk, and as you mentioned, out of Heartlight number 1, as Joanne mentioned, a former very handy mare. We might take a short break, come back and wrap up our first day of Trackside USA with Joanne Jones, Tony Brassell, and also a look at the Belmont Stakes to be run early tomorrow morning, our time.
My father was a jockey, taught me how to ride. My father was a jockey, taught me how to ride. Walked in the middle.
Tomorrow, early morning our time, and tomorrow I suppose American time as well, the running of the 3rd leg of the time-honoured US Triple Crown for 3-year-olds. Charismatic looking for a place in history as the winner of the Kentucky Derby and also the Preakness, and is currently 2 to 1. The star filly Jerry Bailey rides Silver Bullet Day from the Bob Baffert yard, 4 to 1. And longer odds the rest, Adonis at 20 to 1. Now also in the market, Menifee from the Walden stable, 7 to 2, so plenty of support for it. Pat Day rides, 6 to 1 for Best of Luck. Charismatic Joanne is looking for a place in history. Do you like its chances, or Silver Bullet Day, the filly?
I'm going to have to lean towards Charismatic, not only because I really want this horse to win the Triple Crown, but because I think he's getting bigger and stronger and tougher and kind of understanding what he's out there to do. He really improved and showed a quick turn of foot and a good acceleration 3 weeks ago in the Preakness. He seems to be coming up to the race very strongly, and he is a big, beautiful colt. Silver Bullet Day, she's a horse which, strangely enough, Bob Baffert, prior to the Kentucky Derby, said, no, I will not run in the Kentucky Derby because I question her getting a 1.25 mile distance. Well, Bob, the Belmont's 1.5 miles. If she can't get a 1.25 miles, will she get a 1.5 miles? Possibly. She's a fly in the ointment for Charismatic, as is Menifee. He was a big threat in the Kentucky Derby, not so hot an effort in the Preakness as far as menacing Charismatic's win. But if Charismatic improves or even runs his race back, I think he's the one that's going to do it. What about you guys?
D. Wayne Lucas looking for yet another moment of glory. It's been a long time, Tony, since a horse has won the Triple Crown.
That's right. I think affirmed a long time ago, wasn't it, Brendan? What, back in the 70s, late 70s or so?
It's around 25 odd years.
Yeah, it's a huge task. The thing about the Triple Crown is that you've got to win at the 2,000 metres, or our metric 2,000 metres, and then come back to the 1,900 metres of the Preakness Stakes, and then shoot right back up to 2,400 metres. It's an awesome task.
It is an awesome task. Now, do you give Menifee a chance, Joanne, of upstaging Charismatic?
I do think Menifee has a shot to do it, especially if he repeats what he did in the Kentucky Derby. That was such a strong effort, and you could see him come up and be the spoiler to beat Charismatic. But I have to go with Charismatic. Just the amount that he improved in that last outing in the Preakness. If he improves or doesn't even improve, as I mentioned before, I think that he's going to do it this time. The Belmont stretch is a long one, so that's a tough one to stay out there, but I think Charismatic can do it. Antley, I know, has his whole family flying in and is very excited for the big Winner's Circle celebration. As you mentioned earlier, he'd be the first horse to win the Triple Crown in 21 years, join an elite group of only 11 horses.
Joanne, I understand it's quite warm there. Now, what was the warmest of the tips we should be backing in weeks to come in our coverage of American racing? I thought perhaps Royal Shyness would be worth following.
Royal Shyness of today, yes, there were a few horses, even Wesley Ward's horse that ran in the last race, the number 1 horse that cut out that pace and seemed to fade in his first start here in America. But we had some pretty formful races today.
What can we look forward to in the coming weeks that you'll be bringing to us Saturday morning our time, but your Friday circuit? Are there any good races in particular we can look forward to?
Well, we'll be seeing mainly the types of races we've seen today. Some good eventful claiming races, some allowance races, from starting out Hollywood and Golden Gate, and then maybe branching out and getting a little action from Kentucky, maybe Arkansas, wherever else they might be running, Louisiana. So we've got a lot of American racing to look forward to in the weeks to come.
Now, how warm is it there? Can I ask you that, Joanne, where you're sitting?
Well, I've got these hot lights on me, so it's probably about 20 degrees warmer where I'm sitting than it is anywhere else in the park. But I'd say it's probably 70, but under these lights, 80.
Joanne, also in weeks to come, we'll be taking a look at a few Aussie horses. One of those is City Success. We mentioned earlier in the show, was trained by John Morrish, was a good horse down here, Tony, and has gone up there and raced really well.
He has, and we're hoping to get you guys a tape of that race so that you can show it, if you don't already have it, to the viewers down in Australia. I'm not sure where this horse will be running back, but we will let you know as soon as we do.
There's one thing in the form guide which the Aussies will come to terms with, Tony. We see quite often, we see an L on the form guide. Can you lead us into that discussion?
Yeah, the big L for Lasix, and that's for bleeders, or to stop horses bleeding, isn't it, Brendan? And a drug that is prohibited out here. How does it stand over there, Joanne?
Well, Lasix is allowed, of course, as is Bute, which is butazolidine, kind of like a giant horse aspirin. Get rid of those small aches and pains that might be bothering the horses when they race. Lasix is an anticoagulant. It basically kind of dehydrates the horse, gets them to get rid of all the liquid in their system, and hopefully it'll dry them out enough so that they won't bleed. You still have horses that bleed through the Lasix once in a while, but it seems to be a good stopper of that problem.
And what about that other big initial we see there, B, the capital B for Bute?
Yes, butazolidine, as I mentioned, that's like a horse aspirin. That is allowed, and you see most of the horses here racing on it. It would be like you taking an aspirin in the morning. It's not going to pump you up or anything, but it's just going to take away that little edge or that little tired, sluggish feeling that you might have in any aches and pains.
Okay, well, we've got a few meetings here in Australia this afternoon. I might be reaching for some aspirin a little later on in the day, Joanne.
You might be reaching for an aspirin. I might try a Bute.
Joanne, we thank you very much. It's been an interesting and insightful first day with your racing live into Australia, and we look forward again to your company next Saturday morning, our time.
Well, it's been great for me, and I look forward to being in the studio with you next week, Friday. Friday our time, Saturday your time.
Joanne, we thank you very much, and we'll let you get out of the lights and cool down on your Friday evening at Hollywood Park.
All right, take care, bye-bye.
See you soon. Now, before we wrap up USA Trackside, Tony, I know you're heading off to the races. A couple of very important races today, and I know you do the form pretty hard on the barrier trials. The Sires Produce, Group 1 in Brisbane. We haven't got all the scratching through. I understand Nazareth is out and Colosseum's out. What do you like there? Yeah,
well, the scratching of Nazareth may well be the leg up for Over, Brendan. He's the stablemate from John Hawkes' camp, and Over blew very heavily the other day when he streaked home to win at Rose Hill. It was quite obvious the horse was open to a lot of improvement. Drawn barrier 7, he'll get a lovely sit off the pace, I think, with Larry Cassidy to steer, so he gets the thumbs up from me.
Yeah, it was an impressive win. I know that they perhaps jogged early and sprinted home, but gee, did the time flatter the winner, because Over got home in great time on a dead track.
Yeah, well, that's right. It was rain affected, and apparently the track will be a touch rain affected up there today, so he'll be in his element.
A couple of quick races. The Oaks in Brisbane.
Yeah, well, I think Cameroon is the one I'd have to go for there. The Sydney form's pretty strong as far as the fillies go, so I'd go for the southern form there.
Okay, two two-year-old races kicking off in Sydney today, and De Cash, a first starter, beautifully related, and another couple of interesting runners. Do you give De Cash a chance?
I give him a chance, but we might have a bit of a smoky in this race, Brendan. A horse called Urimbla Prince, who trialled in good fashion at Randwick about 2 weeks ago.
In the Bob Pearce yard.
Yeah, Bobby Pearce, and he's had one run, hasn't been seen on the track under race conditions for about 3 or 4 months, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him rush home, that fella.
And I, like you, are very keen on Royal Performer, I think, in race 2.
Yeah, well, I wish he could have won last time, but he might be able to make amends for us today, Brendan.
Anything else we should look for in that race?
No, I think he's the one that will be getting the cash. A very promising horse, great big long striding type.
Okay, dead track rating in Brisbane. The other good thing I think you're keen on is Prince Hakeem.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get too wet. He doesn't like rain-affected ground too much, mate.
Tony, thanks for your input today. We'll do it all again throughout the week and also next Saturday morning. That's it for Trackside USA. I'll be joining you after this for Inside Running.